YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Dooley from the Chaseontwowheels channel, and I'm here in Valencia, Spain, and I'm here with a special company. It's Triumph. I'm here riding two motorcycles, the Scrambler 400x and also the Speed 400, two of their newest motorcycles, and we'll find out if this is the best 400 of all time, the best 400 to ride in the city, or the best 400 dirt bike that you can romp on and have a great time with. Let's check them out. And we are on a Speed 400 cruising around town, and I will try and behave myself because I like to go I like to go fast typically. This is such a fun little thing. Oh my gosh. And then cruising through the streets right now, I'm really surprised how just flickable this thing is. It's peppy. It's a single cylinder 400. We've got around 40 horsepower, 37.5 Newton meters of torque. Very fun, very torquey from what it seems like so far. Good blinker location, very like push friendly. You know, it's like a click that you feel right off the rip. I don't feel like I'm missing it or anything. Man, this bike really is peppy. I love the mirrors are actually really nice too. This is going to be my first 400 that I'm scooting around on today. I'm used to big bikes, and when I say big bikes, I mean like the 1000 series. I started riding with those quite a bit, but I gotta say, riding on a single cylinder 400, you get that pep, that like torque that you want to scoot around and just have a good time. Man, this is so nice. I've got the power that I want and that I need out of here. So really cool to see this machine just really take off and really go so light and nimble. Really impressed by it. So we're back on the Speed 400. So let's talk about this suspension. If I'm correct, the front forks have 130 millimeters of travel. The rear has 140 mil, and they have a reserve reservoir and preload adjustable. Now this bike, this itself, is going to be available soon in the US. I believe they said it was March that we could expect these. They are doing a bunch of pre-orders, so that's really cool to know that these bikes are very available, easy to get out of the way too. I just really just pulled it, and we're on the highway. It's really smooth. The shocks are really taking the bumps in this road. I can't say anything bad about it. It's very smooth. I don't feel like it's harsh. This Speedo is very, very nice too. Very forgiving on like, hey, where am I at? Am I gonna miss where I'm at? Like, what gear am I in? What speed I'm at? It's very, very well indicated. You got a trip gauge too, in kilometers, obviously. Look at these mirrors too. Again, something useful, something stylish. And that's what I think Triumph does really, really well, is they've got the style down. They've got all the little details down. Like even in the top clamp for the handlebars, it's stamped in Triumph. I can see why they're really proud of this machine. And it's really two of their main bikes combined with the all new style. Again, all new chassis, all new motor. It's a totally new bike. It's not the same. Now you have like all the same styling cues, like the classic Speed tank, if I remember correctly. Also, they've thought about the blinkers, what they look like, the accessory market too for these bikes, and the OEMs for this bike is well built out already. They spent just as long developing what they can add on for these bikes. Like the blinkers alone, you can do bullet style. I don't know if some stuff might be for UK or US, but I was talking to Henry and he said he believes this would also be US spec with the blinkers and how they look. Very, very nice. The brake setup is a single rotor up front, and I don't remember the size. I think it was in the 220 to 300 range. I can't remember offhand, but the calipers are Bribery. I think it's like a Brembo cousin, or they're made in the same factory and they're just stamped differently. They feel really nice. It's got enough cushion to like give me that, hey, I'm gonna brake, but I've got enough grab and bite to really just stop you if you want. Yep, got that torque like instantly in third gear. In third gear, just enough to push me up, out of the way, get out of the way fast. Nothing really gonna stop this little single, it feels like. A quick shifter would be nice. I'm used to quick shifters in all fairness, but I hope that's something they do come out with this motorcycle. It'd be really nice to just be up click, down click, and not have to worry about the clutch all the time. Maybe some people would like it for the Scrambler, I don't know, but I definitely would like it for the speed. I am comfortable, I will say that. The seat, very well cushioned. Again, back to that turn signal. Super easy to flip on and off. I don't lose where it is. It doesn't have that like positive click that some people like, but honestly, it feels so smooth. I know I'm pressing it in, and I know it's off. I probably do have a habit of looking, and it's, you know, trust but verify. Trust but verify, folks. Good engine braking. I feel like I'm back. Yeah, I've got that power band, and they say, you know, I think power peak comes at 8,000 RPM, so I'm like just under that. I'm like 6,500. Yes, we are ripping it. I feel like this is a very forgiving motorcycle. You can't really go wrong. Really easy clutch. Shift point, super nice. You feel that really nice click. This is very thin too. I can tuck in my legs and I don't feel like I'm losing any like space or it's too tight. Yeah, that clutch, so easy. Literally two fingers, just barely. And I can sit back decently far too and kind of just tuck in my legs away from the wind. This gas tank really just, you know, pushes it past you. That's one of the biggest things I think for a lot of people is they, you know, whether this is for someone new, for someone experienced, whatever your experience is, as far as riding motorcycles, I feel like you can really just get on this and go. It doesn't take a ton of electronics and confuse the rider. There's not a ton of buttons to confuse you either. You know, as long as you have, you know, taken a course of your choosing and learned the controls, you can really not go wrong. But I will say the throttle, I wish could be a little bit snappier. If it had that little less slack cut out of it, I feel like it could be, you know, up my alley. That's my only thing so far. If it was just tweaked a little bit. Other than that, like when I'm in the power range, it's right there. I can roll on it and boom, there it is. Nice brake. Again, I'm like one fingering it really easily. It doesn't take a lot of brake pressure to get this thing slowed down. It's probably bad, but I'm really late braking and really trying to test this bike to see what it's all about, to see if it's something that you'd really like, that I'd really like, is just from styling alone. I don't know if I talked about the price. The price for this motorcycle is not crazy. It's $4,995 US. That is $5,000 basically for this much bike, for this stylish of a bike. So now we're headed into the mountains. We're gonna really test out the speed, the switchbacks, and see how this bike really handles. We're really gonna test out these tires. I believe the Speed has a 110 front and either a 140 or 150 rear tire. From my perspective, we just did, you know, a good bit of switchbacks. It is cold out, so I'm taking it a little bit easier again. But honestly, I didn't feel like the power was down in any of the spots. So, you know, as long as you're in the right gear, I think that makes a huge difference where you can really get into the power band. And I was corrected. It makes power at 9,200, and you really can feel it. Like, it's right on it, right on it. We're back on the 400 speed, and we just ripped through this canyon on a little bit of pista camera. Dude, so much fun. This bike is awesome. I feel like, honestly, it can handle what you're throwing at it from these curves. So capable, so much fun. The suspension, surprisingly, you know, OEM suspension is very smooth. I feel like you know, you put a lot of weight, and I'm not a light guy kind of guy. I'm 210 pounds, probably like, I don't know, 220 with gear or so. But man, it sets up and you're good, and it just plants. I mean, I'm doing second to third gear pulls through these corners. It's got the torque. It's very flickable. It's very light. I think they were saying wet it was 300 and maybe 50 to 370 pounds wet, and they were talking somewhere in the, for gas mileage range, like 80 mpgs British side. I don't know what that translates over to the US, but I mean, I'm almost at a full tank and we've not really used up much gas at all. And obviously some of this riding translates over to, you know, my experience with track, knowing when to brake, knowing when to shift, what kind of power I want. But you learn that over the time, and especially like each bike is different. And this one, I feel like you can do no wrong. They come in a bunch of different colors. Right now is Carnival Red that I'm riding on. There is a Caspian Blue, and then also a Phantom Black. All three colors. I mean, you couldn't really go wrong. The Speed, those are all the Speed colors. The Scrambler comes in a khaki green, Phantom Black, and I believe it was also Carnival Red that it comes in. And what I feel about this bike so far I think it's a pretty solid bike for a single 400cc, or 398 technically. But fit and finish is what they really talked about too, out along with performance, because I don't know if you guys know Triumph very well. They really care about the minor details, and the details matter for them. And they wanted to bring a newer set of riders to this series, the T series, and I think they'll do a great job at that, because this is beginner friendly. As someone who rides, you know, in an advanced group in track days, the more you ride, the more fun you can have on a little bike, and just really enjoy it, because you can go fast on a little bike and you can, you know, push it to the limit.
And this is to go even further beyond.
You know, with little bikes, again, little, you get that feeling of wow, this bike really is, it's the proper size. Don't get me wrong, and this bike feels great. It feels bulky and that's a little slippery. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything or it's too small for me. For reference, I'm about 5'10". I've got like a 30 to 31 inch inseam. I can flat foot this motorcycle no problem. This bike does come with Metzlers from the factory, and so far they've been really holding up. I mean, it's cold, and I've been ripping on it decently through the mountain, and I didn't feel any really slip at all. So Triumph, I think I really like these buttons on these controls. The info button right here is so easy to just push. It sounds so good too, guys. For a completely stock bike. They do in India have I believe it's called a sari guard, where it guards the chain because the way they dress would probably get caught in the chain, and that wouldn't be any fun. So props to Triumph for also thinking of that, thinking of their market, and really wanting to take care of people. They really thought of everything. And as you can tell, these are water cooled, not air cooled, which honestly I'm a little biased towards. I like water cooled things. I think air cooled is pretty much getting phased out at this point, but there's a lot of air cooled bikes that are cool. We'll see how long they last, I suppose. This dash, super nice, analog and digital. Obviously the motor's off. It's nice that it actually tells you what's going on. Gear indicator, plenty big. RPM range, this would have no change, obviously. Miles, kilometers, everything is well visible. Key's really nice too. Nice click. Riding the double deuce. I'll also appreciate black levers. I was never a fan of when manufacturers did silver levers because I thought it was just like an afterthought. Now, when a company can actually take the time and think about, again, the little details, like here, very nice finish, levers painted black to match everything. It's just the little things that matter for me. I'm on a Scrambler. It's noticeably taller. You definitely can feel it, but it's just as flickable. It feels a bit heavier, and I know it's just slightly heavier. The weight is very minimal. Levers feel a little bit different. They might be a little bit different, or they could be the same. It could be because these bark busters are up here, and I'm not used to that compared to the speed now. Same motor. Same, the chassis were made for, each of these individually. This has 150 mil front and rear of travel. Definitely a little bit more than the speed, but it's got it. It's got the travel you need to go on these little dirt roads, and also it depends on your tire. Like, what do you want to do with it? It feels so nimble. Both the Speed and the Scrambler are cast wheels. Also, the Scrambler 400x is not that much crazy in price. The Speed is the $4,995 mark, and if you want to go play in a little bit of dirt with the Scrambler 400x, it's gonna be just $5,995, so only $1,000 more, and you get a bit more suspension travel. You get some bark busters. You get this khaki green and white color. They didn't do the Caspian blue. I believe that's just separate just to the Speed 400. Mirrors, they are functional. They do work. It sounds so good though. And this is a stock exhaust. a little dirt road, just putting around in the mountains. It feels like it's handling this just fine, and it feels like it's planted. I don't feel any weird about it. A bit more RPMs this time, and just we're letting it happen, letting it happen. Oh guys, might I mention, this is probably my first time riding something in the dirt, so it's quite new, and it feels like I'm just gliding over this. I mean, obviously it's dirt and it's loose, but you know, I'm really just cruising through this. As someone who's never ridden dirt, and I mean, you know, this is minimal, but wow, is it fun? Is it fun? The one thing that, you know, you come to realize when you're playing in the dirt, well, maybe two things, and if you're fairly new to the dirt, like me, unlike Patty and Chase, I'm, you know, feel some type of way about it. It's new, it's weird, it's loose, and that's what I'm told you have to be, is you have to remember to be loose on the dirt. Just let the bike do its thing, let it run, let it do whatever it needs to do. And another thing that I am learning is your brakes. The brakes are different, they're weird. You know, you don't want that front tire to wash out. So from my understanding from riding in the dirt from other folks, is that you use your rear brake quite a bit more than your front brake, because your front brake isn't going to do much besides slide. And I don't know if you saw me at some point, but basically when you grab the front brake on dirt, you're just slowly sliding back. So either I was trying to compensate for it by grabbing it here and there, or you use your rear brake, you cover the rear brake, and then you're good. But here we go back on the road, and that finishes our little dirt experience, and we are all very much covered in the dust from Spain. I may take some of this back with me if they let me. For someone who has never ridden dirt, that was a good time. Obviously tires matter when you're doing more off-road, and the Scrambler 400x has plenty of accessories to accommodate if that's your plan, to play in the off-road, to go longer distance. You'll see probably from one of the photos that there's a phantom black Scrambler 400x all kitted out with bags, dry bag on the rear, and then it had the high mount fender. So instead of, you know, having this low mount fender that's currently on here, you'll have that, you know, that dirt bike-esque look, and it looks very nice. And honestly, it's starting to feel the same as the Speed the more time I get on it, but I feel like maybe they just sound slightly different. It does feel like I'm on a supermoto. Now that's obviously not what this is, but that's the feeling I get, that's the sound that it feels like, and it's something I can just go have fun with. But one thing I will talk about that I probably didn't mention, and that's very different from the Speed 400, is that in order to, you know, accommodate for wanting to play off-road, this has a longer wheelbase, and it's 20 millimeters longer from the head of the chassis. That's how they get that longer wheelbase on here. And obviously a longer wheelbase means you cover more ground. Stability, I think the bike feels more stable. You know, you're not gonna have to worry about just having too short of a chassis for, you know, I don't know, dirt. Now you can't feel it. I don't feel like it's any different, obviously. But yeah, now we're picking up speed. I did see that you can get windscreens and make it more cafe-esque for the Speed. I'll have to check if they have these windscreens for the Scrambler if you want something like that, or if not, no big deal too. I did see the Bullet turn signals on here, and they looked pretty nice. Check out their accessories for this thing, because it's properly done. They put a lot of time and effort into this bike, and I think it really shows. effortless in the fact that, you know, we can go fast on a 400 and it's forgiving. Obviously, there's plenty of wind noise because, again, we're on naked bikes and we're upright. The seating position is totally different for, you know, those sport bike riders or cruisers. I've got more of an upright stance. My bars on the Scrambler are wider. I can get more of that effort to push down and keep myself stable and just steer with the pegs when I'm going through the dirt. Just climbing, just climbs and climbs. Nice, did a little bump and took that well. The suspension just absorbed that bump like it was nothing. That much difference, 20 mil travel in the front just makes a difference. I keep searching for a quick shifter. There's really not too many different, you know, things between these two motorcycles. Just a few pieces. The exhaust is that twin exhaust that shoots out the back. Very nice compared to the Speed where it's a single and it looks great too. I think the finish is proper on those. Another one of my personal preferences is, you know, I'm on sport bikes way more than any other type of bike. I am gonna say, and this is a personal opinion of course, that as much as I like this bike, I think I like the Speed slightly more. And I think that comes from just being on a road course all the time. Most of my time is spent at the track, and I felt like I could just flick that bike just slightly bit more. And I mean, I was closer to the ground too. This has the front 19-inch wheel versus the Speed's 17-inch cast wheel. Both are cast. So, but they're both light. They're both very light wheels. You know, at $6,000 for this Scrambler 400x, it's checking a lot of boxes. If you're a new rider and you're looking for something that looks good, that feels good, and is not too heavy, I would say you should consider one of the two. Whatever you're looking at, make sure you do a comparison. But we're in the city, we're almost back to the hotel. Really, real quick, just want to thank you guys for letting me go on this ride. It's been a blast. Riding these two different motorcycles has been a ton of fun. In my opinion, I think you should probably consider one of these. If you're a newer rider or you're more experienced, I don't think you can go wrong. I think Triumph did a great job. They really came out with something that people can really enjoy, and I've had a blast on these. The fit and finish, properly done. Definitely check them out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. OC, outro crew, let me know if you've been to Spain or if you've ridden a motorcycle internationally. This is my first time. Tell me what you think. Have you done it? And if you haven't, I recommend you should. It's pretty cool. This is amazing. I can't say that this was a bad time at all. Hey guys, we finished. It's the end of the day. What a ride on these two motorcycles. It's been such a great day. Honestly, so many favorite things, so many good things about these two motorcycles. My favorite of all on both of these is how nimble they are, how flickable they are. They're so light, so forgiving. You need to check it out. You need to ride one. You need to go see one. I'd say my least favorite, if I had to pick one, probably the brakes. The brakes could have been a little bit better, a little bit more bite, and it would be pretty great. Honestly, I think if Chase gets on one of these, it will be one of his favorites. If you want to see us do more press launches like this, if you want to see us do more press launches with Triumph or whoever it may be, comment down below, like the video, let me know how we did. It's Dooley from the Chase on Two Wheels channel. See you guys in the next one. Peace.